your best.
I'm Travis Cross, Olympic wrestler and firefighter. Whether you're into arts or drama or helping out in the community, there's lots of different things in every community that you can be involved in. Being a mentor yourself or a younger kid, volunteering.
So why do you like volunteering?
I think it's important for kids who are in a hospital to kind of have a bit of a distraction so we can just kind of hang out and have fun. Yeah.
Game night, board games, movie night. The sports, activities, fun family activities.
Things to do in the community, keep kids away from drugs and alcohol. I like to play lacrosse, go biking, and hang out with my family.
If you start working with people who start taking episodic excessive drinking behavior, take a lot of marijuana, take any other drug, our research clearly demonstrates that those people then will engage further along those pathways. In order to prevent yourself from going down those pathways, you have to choose your friends wisely.
My name's Adam Lowen. I've been with the Jays 3 years now. You know, choose your friends wisely, and I think the more value you put on friendships, more than trying to impress other kids, you know, you'll go further. When you can do that as a younger kid, no matter how hard it is, you can be, you know, confident in saying no to anything.
I'm Lawrie with the Toronto Blue Jays, and I dig the long ball. If you find yourself in a tough situation, I think the best thing to do is go ask somebody for help, maybe a little older, a teacher or principal. Really look inside yourself and see what you really want to do. Do you want to go down the wrong road, or do you want to go down the right road?
A guy I knew back in minor league baseball, he got addicted to over-the-counter medication and Oxycontin, and it really took hold of his life, and he didn't even care about baseball anymore. All he wanted was the drug, and it doesn't only happen in sports, it happens everywhere.
Just because it's prescribed does not mean it's safe for you to take. So don't be messing around and taking something that's not yours. It's not yours, don't take it. If it's not prescribed to you, don't take it.
Addiction is no joke.
Elementary school, I was hanging out with this kid all year. We got in trouble all year. Hi, I'm Alex de Patsy. I've been a diver for 20 years now. I've been world champion 3 times. And I knew I was going to have to choose the right people to stay focused on school and diving at the same time. And I think that decision I made of sort of choosing the right people to hang out with really helped me to grow as a person. It was a real turning point for me, for my personal growth at that point, even at such a young age. Pretty sure I made the right decision because he didn't turn out so well in the end, so.
Oh, jeez. I gotta stop this. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, so do you guys have like any idea what you guys want to do when you're older?
Not that you have to know what you're gonna do when you grow up, but like you at least have to be focused and like
working towards
effort. Yeah, putting effort towards your education, even if you have no idea what you're gonna do. Like
I want to work with music, so like in the studio, being an audio engineer, like working with all the buttons that go up and down, the that type of stuff.
I kind of want to be a doctor or like something that works with kids.
I don't know what I'm gonna be when I grow up. I don't know what I want to be, but I know that by night I'll be fighting crime. I don't know by day.
Maybe be a journalist or a reporter.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be the journalist reporting his crime stall.
Maybe.
I think I'd really like to become a studio guitarist, just work with music, I guess.
So what are some things that you guys think would get in the way of like you accomplishing your goals?
Hey, I know it looks tempting to try drugs, especially in a culture of peer acceptance, but really, is it worth compromising your life goals?
And when they don't have a goal, they don't really know what they're going to do with their life. So they think like drugs are the easiest way.
Stress can be a huge factor in someone's life, and for some people they might see drugs as the escape from reality. Really, I mean, it could potentially be anybody. It could be any one of us.
So there's peer pressure, so in like my school, there's a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people do it, but there's some people close around me that do it, like after school at lunches and stuff. But Like, they try to get you into doing it. They think that that will make you cool somehow.
In my life, you know, I've encountered a lot of people, a lot of very cool people that I've worked with, that I've looked up to. You know, I've seen them and seen how drugs has affected them, and trust me, it's not cool. So when you think it makes you cool, it actually makes you not cool. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it, and I've seen how people went from being successful to be on their face, you know what I'm saying, to be like really they lost everything. It spoils all their relationships and spoils all the thunder, all the things that made them special. It all went out the window. It doesn't make you smarter, it doesn't make you doper, it doesn't make you more popular. It actually clowns you out, because I've seen it. So don't do that.
Well, I've even had people come up to me and say like, oh yeah, I heard like you rap, like if you did drugs, like you might be able to be on like a high level like them, like of the way you think. I don't see how it puts me on that higher level of thinking. So like, I don't see how it does me any good. Music is a big, big part of my life. Like, I rather stay in my basement and use my equipment and record than actually go to a party, because going out to a party gets you into all this extra stuff that you don't need. But when I can just stay and do what I love in my own house of my own comfort, it just feels way better than doing all that other stuff.
I ain't in the catch lane, but if it cross by, like Sydney's last name, I might take a shot. Like Max Payne, I won't lie. Man, that's lame. Okay, one sec.
With drugs in your life, that leads to destroy your family, your friendship, lose your job, poor health. Why would you take a chance on that?
When someone asks me or like says, oh, you should try whatever, you'll love it, just straight up say no and say I respect myself more than that. And
the way I see it is it changes like people's way of thinking, like their mindset. So like they'll be like, okay, they used to be playing football like all the time, and that's what they kept their mind on. And then it just changes completely, like, oh, I want to go get high and all this stuff. Like, I've seen it completely change in a lot of people.
It's become such a social norm.
But only if you surround yourself with people that are into that kind of thing. So, like, it's not like you go down the hall and everyone's like, oh, guys, come on, like, let's go smoke up and stuff. Like if you go to the right spot, yeah, they'll be offering you stuff. But if you just remove yourself from that situation, then you're not really faced with it. So it's a personal thing. Like, just don't get involved with it, and you're not faced with the peer pressure.
I guess b-boying is like my drug. It's the thing I love to do, even though I get bruised everywhere, but it's the funnest thing I ever done, and I want to keep doing it.
Who wants John to do something?
On the table? Are you serious?
Go! Yeah, there we go! That's what I'm talking about. That is why you stay away from drugs. The best part about being drug-free for me is that I do have control of my life. I do live a stable life. I'm in control of my body, and I don't have to worry about the consequences that you normally would have if you were addicted to drugs. I can still do the stuff that I love without having to worry.
What have you learned about the power that you have to make good choices?
Yes. We all have that power, and we all have the ability to make healthy decisions that are better for yourself.
You know, you're in the driver's seat. You're the pilot of your own path. You have the opportunity to make the right choices, so do it.
You don't have to worry like, oh, I can't stop, or like you don't have to worry about that type of stuff. Like, you know you can already be like yourself, and you're not using anything else to like affect you and like make you like feel better when you can just be yourself and feel better yourself.
I've learned that the only person that can make decisions for myself is me, and I shouldn't give in to peer pressure.
I feel like if you say no, then you've accomplished something. It's like you've been over this like huge hill and you've actually accomplished something.
When you take that stance at that young of an age, it becomes a non-factor.
Trust, and I know that I'm drug-free and people trust me.
Yes.
Trust yourself.
Oh, to trust yourself, very good. Absolutely, that's a great one.
It's going to be tough. I know it's going to be tough to change friends, you know, and it's going to take time, you know, but you have to do it.
You got to be strong. I mean, you cannot, you can follow the crowd, you can go along, you see it all the time. Some poor kid gets caught up in it because he doesn't have the strength to stand up and say, no, I'm not taking drugs, I'm not going to ruin my life.
It really is
I can't tell you enough from my own experiences. When I was a young guy and we were Red Deer, it was tough neighborhoods, and I found out early it's just the road to ruin. You were shot in a lot of ways when you were wearing yourself thin at that age. You were getting anxiety attacks. You really do yourself a disservice.
Really, at the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing. And, you know, at that age, you're, you know, 13, 14 years old. You know what the right thing is, and it's a matter of just doing that.
When you're sitting for the very first time at a party, in a car, outside, wherever you are, you're going to be exposed to pot, marijuana, ecstasy. It's critical that you have an explanation for why you're not going to take it before you get to that party, before the alcohol makes you slip into that bad behavior. So before you go to a party, you're going to say, what can I say to my friends that's not going to allow me to engage in this behavior? Things like, I got to practice tomorrow. That's a great excuse. I've got to practice tomorrow, so I can't do this behavior. They'll accept it and move right on and not even have a blink of an eye at you.
You have to defend yourself. You have to stand up for yourself. And that's the only reason why I'm here today, because I stood up for myself. And when guys said, hey, look, you know, come do this or do that, I said, hey, guys, I got to go to the boxing gym or whatever it is, or I have to run today, or I have to go to school.
I see a lot of youth today believing in substances rather than themselves. They'll buy a supplement to actually change their bodies, to drop some fat mass, gain some muscle mass, or they'll take a drug to get away from their problems and the pressures of life. It is not in the bottle that gives you success. It's you believing in yourself that gives you success.
You know, if one kid looking at this was to say, hey, I got to start making better choices because that story really got to me, then me talking about it now and everything else we do is worth it.
The motivation's there, my goals are there, and being drug-free allows me to stay on that path and to go exactly where I want to go in life.
Believe in yourself.